Okay, Bryce has made some good shots, and we're getting ready to graduate to a new projectile slinger, which is honestly my first Unite. Will be yours currently. So for this video, this release, that tension release, that silverback is set for this weight, which is a much higher holding weight. I'm still going to have him shoot this some, but for right now, we're going to move into the Big Daddy, okay? So the only difference is there's now a sight on the front. There is a peep on the back, okay? None of these things matter until when? Number 5. But yeah, you're close enough. Yeah. Yeah, you're close enough. Anchor first, then look through the peep. Again, if you follow the fundamentals of the head position, this peep should pretty much be right where you need it to be, because you know the distance from here to here is going to be pretty constant. I've got another release set up for this weight. Now for a beginner, I always start people with less weight than I think they can actually manage. This bow was a little bit over 60, I believe, when I was shooting it, and I've backed it out a little bit, so it's kind of in the upper 50s. So as a new archer, it's going to allow him to really get comfortable with that, and then you know, we can add half a turn a week once you're going if you're continual with your practice. So here's this bow, feels a little bit different. And I'm actually, let's just back you up to that line right there. You're graduating. Yep, you are now moving technically up in life. Okay, buddy, so there's that. Now remember, this is going to be a little bit harder to pull in the middle, and then it's going to get easy and it's going to stop. When it stops, it's going to feel a little bit different than that. So you don't want to be pulling, like I said, so hard through it. Think of that elbow as an accelerator. You know, once you kind of hit that stop, don't keep mashing it, okay? You're going to want to go through your steps, and I'm going to have you just aim at that target. I mean, don't worry about aiming, just I gave you the biggest spot that we have, because if you're anywhere in there, I'm cool, and you should be cool too. Trust in that float. The reason we have the different size arrow mats is because all these targets can really be used for different purposes. I love this big spot whenever you're trying a new release, if you're trying new arrows, if you're, you know, sometimes you get hypercritical of yourself if you're not pounding the middle, but if you're changing elements of your shot, you don't want to be hypercritical of yourself. So by making that target bigger, it just allows you to work on things, to tweak your form, and still see a good result. So, all right, dude. Let's see if you're ready for this diploma. And make sure, yep, good job. So with an arrow, he had a little click. A lot of arrows have 2 stages of that click. It's not just the first click. Make sure that arrow is embedded all the way on. Otherwise, when you draw back, that arrow will barely be hanging on, and you could end up having, you know, similar to a dry fire. You should never fire a compound bow without an arrow in it. All right. Nice. Tip your nose on that. Okay. Really good first arrow. Felt different, didn't it?
Yeah, felt way different.
Okay. So, for those of you at home, I'm going to give you this. Go ahead and reload. For those of you at home, I was feeling around for my pockets. I was trying to find my phone. If you pause this and go back, could you see him in full draw, everything? Okay. One part of that shot process was not necessarily correct. Pause it, rewind it, and you tell me when he's at full draw, see if you can pick out what that is. Do you know what it was? What didn't you think about? Let's talk about that. Your bow hand was pretty deep in the grip, and your fingers were all the way around to this side. Okay, so you were kind of turning your hand, which if you look at that arrow, you see how it's kicked like that?
Yeah.
It's because, I think because you're pulling something back, you know, and you're like, what is this thing? You kind of did the Jocko death grip, and you don't want to do that, okay? So yeah, just remember to slide up, lean on the door, keep the front of the, there you go. Keep the front of those fingers relaxed. That's going to put you more in the middle for sure. And a little bit softer on your back wall. I mean, that one's, you know, you're 20 something pounds to hold that against the peg. This is half of that, okay? Yes. Beautiful. No, yep, there you go. Come on, dude. You wrecked my arrow. Good job, though. Good job. All right. So I'm going to talk with you about a few more things here. Go ahead and work on this one. And when you start to see really good progress like this in a student, he's progressing really well. I'm kind of, as they're going through that shot, I am mentally going through this process too. I'm looking at his feet, I'm looking at his hand. As he comes up, I'm looking at that shoulder, and I'm making sure he's addressing that peep correctly, and I'm watching his thumb come off slow without dumping it and changing his hand position. And once that happens, as long as that elbow's up, I'm just letting him go through that shot and, you know, see how it all happens. If you see anything that is detrimental, obviously you can be like, finger on your safety, let down, let's reset. But for right now, those look great, man. Amazing. Good job. Went off a little fast, but that's okay. Really good job. Here's your first, not a bad group, buddy. I mean, most people watching are going to be upset with that. Obviously, we got to just adjust your sight and dial you in. If you're aiming here and hitting there right now, that's because I haven't adjusted this for you yet. But we will momentarily. Okay, I'm feeling good about Bryce. So Bryce, let's back up 5 more yards. We're taking Bryce halfway back to the 20. Right in there is good. Okay, slow and smooth. Put that bow in your front leg. Go ahead and relax that front shoulder. Let that baby rest for a minute. Do you have any questions? Is there anything that's standing out as things that you feel like if someone's trying for the first time, hey, this actually felt weird, or, you know?
I think it's just trying to find like that middle in between that back wall.
On you, when you pull back?
Yeah,
okay.
It's like going off a little quick, but.
I'm gonna let you make the shot. This time, Caleb, I'm gonna point. If you're a coach, this is something that you can look at to determine how hard people are pulling on the wall, but also if there's variation in their, what I refer to as preload. Preload is how hard they're pulling on that wall before they're actually functioning through that shot. So let's go ahead and you go through this, and I'm gonna show you where to look, Caleb. And keep your finger on the safety, but maybe pull just a little bit harder than what you normally would, okay. And that way I can kind of show what to look for, and then you know, I'll kind of say like ease up just a little bit, and tell you where to be. Okay, so yeah, that's hard. So right here where his cable's hitting that stop, you can see it's bent. He's pulling pretty hard. Now and actually keep your finger on that safety and just let that bow down. We'll start over with a fresh shot. Okay, sweet. So he was powering through with that one, okay? And sometimes, so even though I said let up a little bit, I don't know if you noticed, but when you kind of tried to let up, it's like now everything feels weird and your shoulder like crept too. So that's why I said, okay, let's just reset the whole thing. And this time, I call it checking in. So when I hit that wall, I kind of determine, am I bending through it already, or is there still some room to go? So I kind of check in, but I'm not powering through. If you're shooting any type of handheld release and you're thinking about that back wall, make sure you are holding on to the release. Because a lot of times when your conscious starts thinking about how hard am I on the wall, the other part, which consciously you were originally thinking about holding on that release and this, well, now if you go away from that, a lot of people ease up on this, and remember, that bow wants to go that way, and it will take that release from you. So you always have to pretend like you are just holding on a ledge for dear life. Don't let go of that release. Keep that release tight. All right, man. Visualize this one. We've been chatting a bunch, so I want you to just do what you did that first time. Close your eyes, go through this baby, and I'm going to have you give me the best shots I've seen ever. Heck yes. Good job. All right, dude. I love that. I love that I'm moving the sight in too. That when I'm moving this sight in and I'm bringing the sight directly over that arrow, for me, that tells me that his front hand, you can see his arrow's actually moving left compared to those first arrows, and that is because his front hand is actually becoming in a more neutral position. Good job. All the way on there. Yeah. Visualize. Aiming's overrated. Nice. Slow and smooth. Dude, you're buying these things. Make one more adjustment. Okay, visualize that shot and execute. Good job, good job. There you go. That is it. Your front hand was a little deep. You're a little close to the string. And that's why that last arrow was a touch right, but come on up here. I mean, buddy, we're going to be at the back wall within an hour, guaranteed. But that is a heck of a first. I mean, what do you think? Total of an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe?
Yeah.
Trying to describe it all to you, went a little bit more in depth, but what an amazing, amazing first day in archery, man. So,
Felt pretty good.
all right. Thank you, everybody. Good luck, and make sure you continue to watch all the additional shows that we're going to put out for this year's School of Knock.